People, so we're back with another video. Hope you all been staying safe and staying free and enjoying that content and enjoying the heat. Now this one that I'm bringing to you all today has been requested, and it's all about getting arrested in the United Kingdom. So let's get into it. So getting arrested in the United Kingdom for the very first time for myself was at the age of 12, and it was with friends, 3 other people. Now when it comes to getting arrested in the United Kingdom, old or young, it's the same principles. Now the way how I got arrested for the very first time, I was with 3 friends. We had stole spray paint from Halfords in Catford, and the police had seen us with a bike, and they pulled us over, checked the VIN on the bike, and they knew it was stolen, and we then had got arrested. Now when you get arrested, they might put cuffs on you, they might not, depending what you're like as a character. And even if you're not being violent, they can still put handcuffs on you. Some officers might, some might not. Now they will read you your rights while they're putting handcuffs on you, or before they put handcuffs on you, when they know they're going to arrest you. Now you'll wait for a bully van, which is what we call it, which would be known to others as maybe a riot van or a police car, to come and collect you and take you to the police station, and your rights would be read to you before them cuffs go on, and they will tell you to what you've been arrested for. Now when you get back at the police station, you will see a sergeant, a custody sergeant with 3 stripes, and the police officers will tell the custody sergeant what it is you got arrested for, what time, what day, and then they will process you into the system. Now from that point, you will get put into a police cell. Now even if you're 12, at the age of 12, and people say, oh, you cannot get arrested, you can be arrested at the age from 11, but the younger you are, is the less, well, more lenient, I meant to say, is the police will be. As even if, depending if it's your first charge as well as an adult, police can be lenient on you, as it's your first time committing a criminal offense. But depending on what it is you have done as a child or an adult, it's the same principles. So once you've been processed, they will say put him into a cell, and you will go into a cell, and whilst you're waiting in a cell, you will have one of these custody workers that basically look like a police officer, but they work inside of the custody, and they will take you out of your cell to get your DNA swab, along with a photo that's attached to a camera, is attached to a stand that they take a photo of you. And then on top of it, there's a fingerprint machine, so that would you'd put your fingers on and your palm, and they take every bit of your hand DNA inside of that small square room too. And then from there, you would then put back into your cell. Now from that point of being put back into your cell, depending on the police officers, the arresting officers, you could be in that cell for 10 to 12 hours. It might get to a point to where the officers that arrested you have left shift, and the next officers are now dealing with that case. Now the officers that arrested you, or the officers dealing with your case on shift, will come to your cell and get you out of the police cell. Now if you've never been in a police cell for the very first time as a child or an adult, you will cry. As when I was in the cell for the very first time, I did cry. And if any of your friends lie to you and say that they did not cry, as you lot was all inside of a police cell, they're telling lies. As when I went to prison, I spoke to a big man of the age of over 35, and he said, bro, when I'm in my cell all by myself, nobody can see me. And it kind of hit, and I was like, very good point. And then it made me thought to how many men that act bad, and once they get into a small confined space by themselves, it will hit them and they will cry. Now when you go into a police cell, I should add this in first, you go in and it's kind of worse than prison, as it's just nothing but tiles. There's a little bed and a toilet. I don't even think you have a sink in there. It's just a bed and a toilet, and you've got a load of tiles that you can count, along with writing on top of the ceiling. Now for the very first time going into a cell, it will be daunting as an adult or a child if you've never been in an environment like that before. And it's worse than prison, as inside a prison, you're able to have a TV, a little smoke of your vape pen, kettle, You see what I'm saying now? Now, when these officers come to your cell to get you, they will take you into the interview room to interview you for the offense while you're at that police station for what you're at the police station for. Now, depending on what happens during the interview, they will take the CPS evidence up to CPS. Sorry, say that wrong. I'm quite tired today. So they would take the evidence up to CPS after the interview, and then CPS stands for Crown Prosecution Service. Now, these are the people that will basically tell the police officers that arrest people if they have a case or not for you to be charged. Now, once they give the police officers of what, you know, the outcome to what their decision is, if it's a yes or no, then you will be charged or not charged. Now, if you get charged, they will come, you know, to your cell and they will charge you at the front desk. Now, if you're under the age of 18, I think it's 17 without an appropriate adult, you would need an appropriate adult, which means someone that's older than over the age of 18. Now, the way I found out on how my friends did cry in that cell too is because, listen to this, my stepdad, which was my mom's partner at the time, had been appropriate adult for me to get interviewed, because you cannot get interviewed unless you have an appropriate adult, unless you're over the age of 18. Now, he had done the exact same for my 2 friends or 3 friends that it was, because their parents were unable or wasn't willing to come to the police station for them. So he had sat in as an appropriate adult, and he told me they did cry too. Now, as a kid, people can say, oh, you're under the age of 12, you won't get in trouble. Don't listen to that, as if the police officers that find whatever it is you're doing wrong, it's down to them if they want to take you down to the police station or just tell you off whilst you're there or take you back home. Now, if you get charged in a police station for a crime, depending on what your crime is, you know, they can ask, you know, for you to be held in custody for more than 48 hours, which means you'll be held on remand, going to court to see a judge the following next day. Now, if this happens, you will go up and see a judge, and the judge will say, okay, we're not putting him back onto the streets. More than likely, it'll be the police officers to put the case across to why they want you on remand, and it will be up to the judge if they keep you and send you to prison or if you get released on bail. Now, depending, even if you don't get charged, they can release you on bail pending further investigation. And it doesn't matter what your age is, it can be it's applied to everyone. So even though they might not have enough evidence to charge you there and then, you might be put on police bail to where you're required to go back to the police station to appear on a later date, and then they could come back to say, okay, we've got insufficient or sufficient evidence for them to take it to the next level and take you to court. Now, the outcome to that, which is called NFA, which stands for no further action. So if the police have insufficient on the case that they have arrested you for, then you would get NFA, which means no further action. You don't, you know, need to do nothing more. There's no court. You just go back to the police station and they will tell you that. Now, even if, you know, as a child, every child's different throughout their childhood. You know, mine getting arrested was a part of my childhood, and it's made me a part of who I am today as a better person. And every, you know, child might get into trouble here and then, and it doesn't mean to say that you're a bad person or you need to be a bad person, but it can, you know, play in effect later on down in your line, as they say, oh, you're under the age of 18, it won't affect your record. Now, if you've been in trouble before, it will be on record, and if you haven't, and depending on the outcome, to if you got no further action, or even if you got charged or they didn't charge you and, you know, you was let go, it will all be on the system. And they like to say after, you know, so many years it gets destroyed. That's something that will carry around with you even if you didn't get a criminal record. Now, if you get a criminal record, this is where it comes into play as a child, depending on what your situation is, or as an adult. you know, it will affect you getting jobs, as employers will do background checks and they can find out to see what you was arrested for, if it was a prison sentence, and you know, it can affect to what you have planned in your future, to whatever it is you want to do. So I hope you all have enjoyed this video. Do drop a comment and a like and a subscribe if you like the content, and share your experience of any of, you know, yourselves or being arrested. And just to add, that wasn't my first time being arrested. There was many, you know, times to come, and I'll never forget counting all of the towers in Catford Police Station, Bromley and Lewisham, though. And that's True Life Talk. So I hope you all have enjoyed this video. Do stay safe, people, and stay free.